You have autopilot in this?
Full self-driving, yep.
You do? It's not standard, right? Yeah, it's an add-on feature?
It is an add-on, yeah. Autopilot is standard. But that is very limited. It can't change lanes.
Got it.
So it's essentially really, really good cruise control, which for most people is more than enough. Especially in rush hour, long-distance road trips and such.
Right.
I've got the most advanced version 12 self-driving software, and it handles about 90% of my trips.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
It is really good. I bet it'll do this whole trip.
There you go. So what are you going to do on the side if that... you got to think about something else, yeah.
Manage the vehicles.
Self-driving, and there you go.
Yeah.
Yep. Nice.
Yeah, like with any disrupting technology, if you don't have the forethought to either pivot or take advantage of it, you're on. It's on you to get replaced.
There you go.
You know, I don't share the woe is me, my job's gonna get replaced mentality. Like, well,
Stay
you
ahead.
sit around. Yeah, exactly. You gotta stay ahead of the game.
Yep.
You'll see it coming. You'll never be able to say, "Oh, I didn't know this was happening."
Mm-hmm.
Only if you blatantly ignored it.
Yeah, sure. Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, on this front, I've already positioned myself, one, just being a content creator covering this. My channel will grow enough by the time this is
Nice.
replacing me to pay the bills on its own. But it's getting really good. We'll see how long it takes regulators to finally take the bite. You know, it's
Yeah.
eventually going to get to a point to where they'll be seen as negligent to allow humans to keep driving.
Right.
Oh, for sure. We're like much more distracted.
We so are. It's so
know.
bad. For a couple of years now, Autopilot's safety ratings have already been about an order of magnitude better. So on average, reported to NHTSA, the regulators for this, the average accident's 1 in every 400,000 or so miles in your everyday car.
Okay.
And Tesla's been reporting for many, many years now that it's like 1 in every 4 million miles.
Oh, wow.
And that was on the standard Autopilot FSD. That's not even,
Right.
you know, like what's operating the car right now.
Yeah.
It's already a 10x, really? A lot of people struggle to appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think I'm most impressed with how it actually handles being around human drivers and the chaos
Fits
that comes
right
with
in.
that. Yeah.
You know how that goes.
More often than not, it'll get bullied by other drivers because it's gonna, if it sees a turn signal, it's gonna back off and let you in.
Okay.
If it's at a stop sign scenario and somebody's taking the lead to go, it's
Right.
gonna wait.
Okay.
So it's good in that way, but in the same vein, people
Right.
can take advantage of it.
Got it. I appreciate the lesson.
Oh yeah, I love talking about it. It's,
Yeah,
it's one of the things that kind of
Tesla's
naturally
coming out
arose.
with its RoboTaxi, right?
So the unveil is supposed to happen on the 8th, which I am quite certain it'll be a vehicle unveil. So like this is the vehicle that will be the RoboTaxi Focus. And I do think it'll be a two-seater. Two-seater with a good hatch to carry all the luggage. There are some leaked images you can see of the supposed outline that the designer's standing in front of.
So is there a driver or just it's...
Well, if it's a true robo-taxi, it
Yeah.
won't have human controls. I'm suspecting that this is going to be the vehicle platform that will be able to make several vehicles, including the robo-taxi, but also the cheaper, more affordable consumer product too, eventually. We'll see. I mean, there's a lot of rumors floating around. But a true level 5 car has no steering wheel or pedals. But for that vehicle to operate, they're going to have to go through a lot of reclassification in the legal system. With regulators like NHTSA to be a level 5 system. Which right now we're a level 2, which is essentially just advanced driver assist. Which is why we're allowed to use the technology, because the driver has to be here to monitor the system. Technically, even though the car is doing the driving, I am in control of letting it do that thing.
Right.
But in a level 3 plus system, that liability and classification changes to a truly autonomous vehicle. So we'll have to see, you know, by August 8th, like, is there going to be any movement in the regulatory sphere or what? It's kind of staying away from the cyclist here.
Yeah.
Choosing to go a little bit to the yellow.
Yeah. Nice. Freaking cool.
Are you on the Tesla sales team?
No. Man, the amount of times that I've told I should be.
Right?
I can't stand sales personally, but when I understand the technology really well, it's not hard to talk about it.
So is Tesla a software company or an auto company?
It's a tech company that has really good products in several atmospheres. That's the way I look at it. Automotive, energy, eventually robotics, already compute with training AI.
Right.
It's anybody who can actually, you know, use this wonderful gray matter to think outside of the typical portfolio functions, I would not make the mistake of calling it an auto company.
Exactly. I think it's much more software.
Yeah. It happens to make the safest and arguably most kick-ass cars in a lot of ways, but that's just a byproduct of it being a tech conglomerate. When you think about all the things it actually does, if anything, it's probably the biggest thing that isn't seen is it's a manufacturing genius. Like how they actually build products. That's probably had the most evolution over time over anything. Like nobody else is using the single casting techniques to put cars together, or to manufacture these mega packs that will support, countrywide grid energy storage. It's insane. But mainstream media is concerned about, car sales being down in Q1.
Yep.
They're not really paid to see the forest for the trees, though. It's all about what's happening every 5 minutes.
They got good competition now from the Chinese car, right?
China will probably be the only serious competition.
But they sold more than Tesla this last quarter.
They kind of go back and forth, BYD and Tesla.
BYD, right.
I think that's a good thing. It's funny how a lot of people will get a little bit overly concerned. Competition yields iteration and better products and competitive pricing. That's part of what makes competition good. But at the same front, I think it's a bit of a categorical mistake to consider Tesla and BYD each other's competition. The competition are these guys. ICE vehicles. Hybrids, which is a lazy intermediate technology that shouldn't even be part of the conversation in 2024. And yet that's what everyone's going to. Yeah.
Because I'm not ready to go all in.
Sure.
I'm not an early adopter by any means. So I think,
yeah. Well, I'd argue by now, EVs aren't an early adoption.
No.
It was in 2012.
Right.
But, at least maybe I would say that's more so the case for like Ford and Tesla, because Ford's now using Tesla's charging network, and everyone else who jumps into that charging infrastructure, now you've solved the issue with range anxiety and can I make it? If you had to rely on third-party charging systems, I probably wouldn't be so eager to go into an EV. But a lot of different really cool options now, like this little Ioniq 5. Small for me, but a lot of people love it. Looks good.
I see those a lot.
A lot of people seem to like it from who I've talked to. I wouldn't be caught dead in a Chevy Bolt or a Prius or something.
Yeah,
That Polestar 2 is pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of options now, and the more reliable it gets, I think people will be willing to jump
What's
in.
that other one? That truck? Yeah.
The Rivian?
Truck? Yeah, Rivian. I see those a lot.
A big fan of Rivian too.
Yeah.
I really hope their financials survive. At least they got Big Daddy Amazon there just in case. They're struggling. They're losing, I think, $100,000 a vehicle right now. It's tough.
Wow.
Essentially, all these auto companies have to become startups again, which is why a lot of them are panicking and pulling back and trying to focus on hybrid sales, because it's just the ugly truth of the matter.
Mexican, I heard that place was alright.
Yeah, these restaurants are probably all really good.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Actually, my wife and I did come out here to one place. I just can't remember. I think it was closer up there on the corner.
Okay.
They had some really great Brussels sprouts. Kind of a funny thing to
No, I love those too.
praise, but God, they were good.
Back when I was a kid, I hated them because no one knew how to cook them, and now
Right, yeah.
a little
they're
honey
doing it
and
so many different ways.
honey and sriracha, and they're good.
Oh yeah. Oh, here we go. Tight road. How are we gonna?
Yeah.
Hey,
What are we gonna
very
do?
good.
Yeah.
Slow down.
Wow.
It's making sure it
Just
pretty cool.
navigates.
It's on complete auto right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is all the self-driving, the
It's just
brakes,
self-driving
turning, all of it.
the time.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure that I can catch it if it does mess up. Just like with cruise control, I can hit the brake or just grab the yoke to take over. Now it's parsing this out too.
Wow.
Cool.
This city side is on a full, like a true end-to-end neural net. It's completely video trained. There's no like human code behind this. This is the real-world AI in action, which is kind of wild to consider.
I didn't even know this, so thanks for the ride. Yeah.
Oh yeah, my pleasure.
I can speak to it.
I've become a little bit of a subject matter expert with all the people I've given rides to.
Right.
So
Very knowledgeable. That's great.
Here
But
we
they
are.
say the rate limiting thing's going to be the electricity grid.
possibly.
Obviously, that's for all these EVs around. That's what's going to be the big issue.
Yeah, there's an important counter, I think, to that, and it's that it's all growing in tandem. So like some people have this kind of weird thought experiment where they're just imagining everything's electric, but somehow the grid didn't evolve too. You know, you didn't have growing battery and electric infrastructure and growing changes with charging and everything else. Like that's all happening along with this. So you're never going to have a case where everything's electric and the grid crashes. It's just not a logical way to arrive to that scenario. But a lot of people don't hear about what's going on with the growing use of renewables and deployments of battery storage systems, which is the big missing component there, because wind and solar aren't always there. They're intermittent because, you know, by nature. But when you have good battery storage, you mitigate that because you can store that energy in excessive use and then deploy when it's low. And I mean, eventually these cars and homes, it can all become sort of a virtual power plant that are kind of taking the place of peaker plants.
Yeah.
And that's all happening as we're transitioning. So I don't think we'll really run into that issue. I don't know. California can mismanage a lot of stuff though, so maybe this state will run into some of those issues. We already have rolling blackouts and all these other weird little things.
We just had an earthquake in New Jersey, so yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Doesn't happen.
It'll be interesting to see how this all does parse out. I tend to be more optimistic than anything.
You gotta be.
Yeah, my pleasure, guys.
Have a great
Thanks for letting me nerd out with you. Just hold the button up top and push the door at the same time. Yeah.
All right.
That's perfect.
Thank you.
You just got to push together the top button in the door.
And push the door, yeah.
There you go.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, you guys have a wonderful day.
You too.
The rare, probably once every couple of day or even once a week, 3-person ride. 3 and 4 people rides are really rare. And I say that because, you know, we did mention the RoboTaxi unveil coming on August 8th a little bit. I'm really looking forward to it. I do think it will be the 2-seater variant. I can't wait to see what's actually going to happen. Are we going to have human controls? Are we not going to have human controls? Because for it to operate without, like I said, we're going to need to see some regulatory changes or some licensing to go. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot that can happen by August. Let me know what you guys thought of that conversation down below. And if I did make any errors, please correct me in the comments. I definitely want to be less inaccurate when I am talking about these things. But I love chatting with people about this stuff. And FSD performed swimmingly. And we're still on 12.3.3, as will likely be in the description of the video anyway. Waiting for 12.3.4. It's been kicking ass though, man. This is doing really well. And I will catch you guys in the next video.